Did you know that a diagnosis doesn't seal your fate? We have the pleasure of Dr. Jennie Ding joining us today on the Local Connection with the Givlin Gals.
You can reverse your diagnosis with diabetes.
Let's get into this. Welcome to the Local Connection with the Givlin Gals, where we unravel the secrets of successful marketing with passion and purpose. I'm Jen, your guide through the dynamic world of business strategies. Welcome to another episode of the Givlin Gals. I'm so excited today to have Dr. Jennie Ding join us to talk about how she's looked after her health and how she can hopefully help us figure out how to get over our health challenges. Thank you so much for coming to be with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. So in terms of your medical knowledge and what led you here, do you have like an epiphany moment or something that kickstarted everything to explain what it is that you're up to these days and how did that happen?
Yeah, definitely. So I am a family physician and also a lifestyle medicine physician, culinary medicine, trained at Harvard. And I've worked in a couple of health and wellness weight management clinics in both BC and Alberta. And then during that process, I started having some vague symptoms. And sometimes we all have those, right? Just feeling tired all the time, maybe a bit cranky, not sleeping well, cravings, right? And just feeling maybe hungry all the time. And so I was having a combination of some of those things. And I chalked it up initially to maybe burnout or COVID, because this was around that time period. So I didn't really think about it too much until enough of those symptoms started happening that I thought, okay, well, even though I'm relatively young, I should maybe look into this a bit more. And so I went to talk to my family physician, got some lab testing done, and found out that I was actually pre-diabetic, which was a surprise to me because I was already working as a lifestyle medicine physician and living a active and healthy lifestyle. I was eating mostly plant-based whole foods, doing some intermittent fasting, exercising regularly, doing 5-10K runs, half marathons, yoga, hiking, all these things. So it didn't really make sense. And I also had no family history of diabetes. So my grandparents are in their 80s or in their late 80s. Their sugar and blood sugar and everything is great. And they're healthy, independent, fully functioning. So it just didn't really make sense to me. So I looked into the research of blood sugar control, and being a bit of a nerd I dug into the primary literature, figuring out the exact things that I was missing. And during that process, I also really wanted to use my personal health data to drive the changes, right? To really make it realistic, sustainable, and specific to me. And so I used some of the latest health technology like continuous glucose monitors, gut health testing kits, and all these things to really piece together the missing pieces. And so what I ended up doing is to create a program using all of the biometric data and health data and my research that was very holistic, and it was not a drastic change from what I was doing, but I was definitely missing some of the very key components of it. And so by going through that program that I created for myself, in 30 days, I was actually able to reverse my prediabetes. Yeah. And so after that, I thought, wow, this is a very needed service, because in today's health system, being a physician, it's very much focused on reaction, right? It's very much focused on acute care, not so much on prevention, and helping people to actually cure their diseases and help them to optimize their health and lifestyle. So that's essentially the long answer to your question. That was the beginning of Hale Health Canada and the Diabetes Reversal Program.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. That's wild, because you're a physician. You've been fully trained. Not that it's not physician heal thyself, but you had the knowledge. And it's interesting, you know, you hear about runners and they're marathon runners and they eat well and they train well, and then they have a heart attack and you're like, that wasn't supposed to happen to that guy.
Exactly.
I look at you, look like you're vital and healthy and, you know, pre-diabetes, that's not the stereotypical thought that we have of someone that looks like you and that has the same knowledge as you. So it's fascinating to hear what you've done and how you've like walked your journeys. How are you finding helping get that information out to other people? How's that going for you? And are they surprised when you start to share your information?
You know, I actually get that question a lot. So it is surprising initially to me, because I was pretty surprised to find out that I was pre-diabetic. And I basically looked the same my whole adult life, no changes whatsoever. But inside, biomechanically, something was off, right? And so a lot of people in today's world, because of our lifestyle and the food environment, all these things, stress, overwork, all the stuff, sedentary life, you name it, it predisposes us to having blood sugar problems. And we don't know it until it's too late, until maybe we end up being actually diagnosed with full-on diabetes, needing medications. But throughout that whole time, we've been feeling crappy, we've been feeling off, not feeling like ourselves for a long, long time until we get to that point, right? And so when I have these conversations with other people, they are like, you guys are surprised that I was pre-diabetic. And that is also a bit of a light bulb moment for them to think about, okay, maybe some of these symptoms I'm having now is not related to stress, maybe it's blood sugar related, maybe it's something else I need to look into a bit more.
Yeah, do some deeper research, do some deeper diving. So if someone isn't feeling well and they're not quite sure what to do, what sort of steps would you say to take to kind of empower themselves? What would be the first thing that you would recommend?
Yeah, so the first thing I advise everybody is to kind of pay attention to their body and how they're feeling, right? Mm-hmm. To kind of do a mental or even a physical checklist of their symptoms. You don't have to exactly make a checklist every single day, but just to have an overall sense of, okay, what's different this month versus the previous months, or maybe this year versus last year, right? And that'll give you an insight as to, okay, maybe something is not quite right? So, for example, for myself, I was having the chronic fatigue. I was having kind of crashes after eating certain meals, the afternoon slump that we sometimes get, needing a caffeine boost, right? And I also started noticing some skin changes, which is a bit strange because I was like, okay, well, I'm still relatively young. I shouldn't be getting wrinkles or a lot of these maybe adult acne or signs of inflammation or even eczema. I started developing some of those things on my skin. And along with that, I was having some weird hormone fluctuations, right? So that just kind of add on and compounding over time. And it's not necessarily, like I was saying, one thing that caused me to say, okay, here is something I need to look into a bit more. It's kind of the whole constellation of things together that made me think, okay, there must be something else going on in my body that I'm missing. Yeah.
So if somebody's already been diagnosed with an issue, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol issues, is it too late for them?
No. So the short answer is it's not too late. And what might be surprising to our listeners today is the fact that about 1/5 of Canadians have metabolic syndrome, right? And about 30% of Canadians have either prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. And that number actually is a lot higher if you take into account the number of people who's not yet diagnosed, who have these symptoms, who are just kind of maybe trying to go through the system or whatnot, or trying to figure out things on their own, right? And so it is a bit of a journey for them to get to the point where they feel that they can get the support and then they can start healing, right? So by the time people have, say, prediabetes, there's already a degree of inflammation going on in our body. Mostly related to this organ called the pancreas, which is where the insulin, as you guys probably all heard of, the sugar storage hormone, quote unquote, comes from. So that's produced by the pancreas. By the time somebody has prediabetes, the main type of cell, the beta cells in the pancreas, their function has decreased about 50%. Now, by the time they get to full-on type 2 diabetes, the function has gone down 80%, right? That being said, by going through some lifestyle changes, those things can be reversed, right? The function can improve because your body is great. Your body is fantastic at healing itself if you provide it with the right resources, right nutrients. So it's definitely reversible in a lot of cases.
That's amazing. So if someone is empowered and they're ready to get out of this slump that they're feeling, or they've gotten a diagnosis and they're feeling a little bit discouraged, how do they reach out to you and who do they talk to? How do they find you?
Yeah, so I am available through my own virtual platform. Is Kale Health Canada. Kale, like the vegetable, the green leafy vegetable that some people may love, some people may not like. So it's Kale Health Canada. The website is kalehealth.ca. And you can also find me on social media, Instagram or Facebook at kalehealth.md. And so through my website and my social channels, you can book a free one-on-one consultation with me to see if our program is right for you or if I can help you to make other recommendations. And then you can be enrolled in our blood sugar defense diabetes reversal platform, where you get access to not only ongoing support with me, but additional resources like continuous glucose monitor, gut health testing kits, personalized exercise programming, education materials, and discounts to supplements and more. So it's very much holistic so that we can empower you to heal naturally without medications.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming and for educating and empowering us that we can make a difference in our lives and that we have someone that can actually lead us along the way and a doctor that has some time for us. So thank you very much for being here.
Dr. Jennie, it was great to have you here. I can't believe that our time is already wrapped up that quickly because I have about 50 more questions for you. It'll turn into another episode, I'm sure.
Yeah, we could do part 2, part 3.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Local Connection. Remember, implement those marketing gems and watch your business soar. I'm Jen, signing off with inspiration. Until next time.